everyone, and welcome back to Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. It's day 13 of our quarantine series. We're almost there, we're on the home stretch, and we got a great video to get you there. Today, we're going to be making Pollo Guisado. This chicken stew is super traditional and super popular. And since I got tons of time on my hand, I'm going to add another twist. Today, in addition to just making Pollo Guisado, we're going to take some of the chicken scraps and we're going to make our own stock that we'll use then in the Pollo Guisado. It's going to be fabulous. It'll take a while, but so yummy. So let's get cooking.
Puerto Ricaña, yo te la traigo de Cupey, de Vega Baja y de Santurce, de todas partes de Puerto Rico.
Here are the ingredients for our recipe today. First, we got the chicken. I got a whole chicken. I like to buy it whole. It's cheaper. It also kind of helps you use all of the animal. And like I mentioned, today we're going to take the time, just because we have it, to make our own chicken stock. So important that we have the whole chicken. What we're going to do is we're going to cut out the backbone. We're going to use the rest of the chicken actually for the dish. But the backbone we're going to boil down in some stock along with some garlic, a carrot, some recao, and a pepper. So this is going to be for our chicken stock, which normally you would use. If you don't have time for that, it's fine. Just substitute it for 2 or 3 cups of chicken stock. Then along with the guisado, we're going to do, we have some sofrito, some onions, some oil, some olives, some carrots that are just chopped. There are some potatoes, some adobo, some tomato sauce, some oregano, and some annatto oil. I'm using the annatto oil because I'm not going to be using any sazon. I'm just trying to stay away from the MSG, but if you're going to use some sazon, you can leave out the annatto oil, totally up to you. So let's get cooking. First thing we want to do is break down our chicken. Now there are a lot of videos out there about how to do this, and I've added a couple in the video description below. Check them out. Start by removing the legs. To do this, use some kitchen shears to open up the skin surrounding the hip joint. Just cut open the skin along the whole length of the thigh. Once the skin is parted and you can see down to the meat, just use your hands to dislocate the hip joint. Once that's done, you should be able to see where the joint is. Then use your knife to make a cut right at the hip joint, separating the thigh and drumstick from the rest of the chicken. Once one leg is removed, go ahead and remove the other one. Use your scissors to open up the skin, then dislocate the hip and use your knife to cut off the leg. Once both legs are off, go ahead and remove the wings in much the same manner. Cut the skin away from the meat, then locate the joint connecting the wing to the breast and use your knife to cut off the wing. Now the only remaining pieces are the breast and the backbone. Use your kitchen shears to separate these parts. Cut across the fat at the back of the chicken, and then you should be able to cut down along the ribs, separating the back from the front. You'll notice that there is a fat line running diagonally across this area. If you just cut along this line with your scissors, you'll be doing perfectly. Continue to use your shears to separate the backbone from the breast. Once separated, put your backbone aside, which is what we're going to use to make our chicken stock. Now take your breast and split it in half using your knife. Finally, cut your breasts in half. You don't need to do this if you don't want to, and you can cook the breasts whole, but I've found that a whole chicken breast ends up being a really big piece, and it's easier to cut it now than it will be after it's already cooked. Okay, now on to making our chicken broth. In a heavy saucepan, add your chicken backbone as well as the neck and fat that was stuffed in the chicken cavity. Then add your aromatics, including your carrot, your recao, your pepper, and your garlic. Then add about 5 cups of water, put your lid on, and turn the heat to medium-low. Let your broth cook for at least 3 hours. Once ready, Pour your pot into a strainer and discard all of the solids, leaving just the stock. Now on to the chicken. You should keep your chicken in the refrigerator while you are making your stock. Now pull it out and season it with your adobo. Once all seasoned, go ahead and brown your chicken in a large, heavy pot. Add your oil, bring your pot up to medium-high, and add your chicken. Once browned on one side, turn your chicken and continue browning it on all sides. Once browned, remove your chicken from the pot and set it aside. Now add your annatto oil, your onions, and your sofrito to the pot and saute for 2 to 3 minutes. Once reduced, add your potatoes and carrots and continue sauteing. After a couple of minutes, add your tomato sauce, your olives, and your oregano and mix to combine. Now add your chicken pieces back into the pot, and once they're all situated, pour your chicken stock back over it. Your chicken should be at least 2/3 covered. If it's not, just add a little water as well. Now simmer your chicken on medium for 1 to 2 hours. The longer you cook it, the more tender the meat will be. Stir your chicken from time to time and make sure there is enough water in the pan. Once your meat is cooked, if your sauce still needs to thicken up a little bit more, just take off the top and turn your stove up to high, stirring more frequently to make sure nothing burns. Once the sauce is the consistency you want, you're all ready to eat. So there you have it, Pollo Guisado. As you saw, the meat just kind of falls right off the bone. It's so tender because it's been cooking for a long time. Very tasty, and all the juice kind of coats the meat as you eat it. I mean, it's almost like a soup. You could just sit there with the spoon and go at the sauce in of itself. Very tasty. Great dish. Pollo Guisado is just a great dish. A lot of times you would serve it with white rice, so it pairs well. It's nice to make in advance because, again, it's kind of like a one-pot thing where you put it all in the pot and you just cook it for a long time. And I mean, you definitely want to give it enough time so the meat's tender, but after that, like, you know, if it's an hour or two more, like, who cares? Just make sure that the water doesn't get too low and doesn't burn on you. Great, yummy dish. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you liked the video. If you did, like it, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notifications when we put out new videos. And then join us again tomorrow for another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen.